What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Anthony, and this is Surviving the Suburbs. So one of the things that brings folks out to the suburbs is the need for space. You're growing a family, you're starting a family, and you need a little bit more room to spread out. And one of the things that folks tend to think about when they're spreading out in the suburbs is the need to commute back to the city or more populated areas, town centers, any kind of grocery store, and your shopping retail areas. And so when you have a larger family, you don't have as many options. You're either getting a large SUV or you're getting a minivan. In our case, we elected for the minivan. And let me be honest, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd own a minivan. But when comparing the price point, when comparing the options and what you're getting for your money, it was hard for me to argue the idea of spending an extra 20 grand for a large SUV as opposed to the more practical minivan. So what I want to do now is do a walkthrough of the minivan, what we were able to get. This is going to be a 2019 Chrysler Pacifica Limited. So this particular model has a lot of options, has a lot of bells and whistles that make owning a minivan feel like you're not driving a minivan. So as crazy as that sounds, it gives you much more of a luxury feel, much more of a feel like you're driving a large SUV as opposed to driving a minivan. So what I want to do now, give you a walk through some of the traits, some of the options, some of the practicality and reasons why this was the choice that we made, and then give you my opinion on satisfaction and what I think we've gotten so far with almost 1 year of ownership. All right, guys, one other thing I want to mention before we get started. I had the vehicle cleaned. I did not want to expose you to this crime scene that was our vehicle. I just had it wiped down, and I took the car seats out, and I cleaned it out from the interior, and gave the outside a wash. One of the other things you're doing in the suburbs, looking for other things to do. So took good care of the car before making this video, or before giving you this walkthrough, and so that you can actually have a clear perspective on what we're talking about rather than the mess that was here before. So one of the nice things about owning a minivan is the sliding doors. There's almost no other feature and no other vehicle that can give you this particular feature. So opening a door in the matter of a traditional fashion, which is outwards, in a parking lot where there's other vehicles parked directly next to you, is not as convenient as the sliding door when you have little ones. They swing the door open. It's tight spaces. It's just not practical when you have a baby stroller, or you have just young toddlers who are hard to control when getting them into the vehicle. So the sliding doors are a huge feature, and probably one of the most dominant features that make the decision for the potential buyer when someone's looking for a vehicle of this size. All right, so another feature that we were able to get in this limited edition Chrysler Pacifica is TVs in the headrest. Now, when it comes to purchasing an SUV, there's a pretty penny that you're going to pay to get this particular feature. Now, it's not cheap in this edition of the vehicle as well. However, for the price point, you're still well below a large SUV in getting this particular feature included in the package. And to be honest, we love this. This works great for us and our family and our kids. We've got an 8-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, and an infant. But the 2.5-year-old and the 8-year-old love these TVs. When we go on long road trips or when we're spending a lot of time in the car, these are a lifesaver. Let me tell you something. These are a lifesaver. They keep the kids quiet. That keeps them focused on something else other than each other. And you know, when you're on the road for a long time, it could get a little bit boring for the young ones. You know, they need to be entertained, and that's what this is for. It does just that. Another feature that I wanted to mention about the entertainment aspect of this vehicle and what you're getting in this package. Not only do you get the TV, but it's a touchscreen TV that you can play games with. There's apps in the center console that you can unlock for the kids to play games for long road trips. There's an app called Are We There Yet? It's an amazing feature to have when you have a family, especially young ones that need to be entertained and distracted. As you can see here, there's ports, HDMI port, USB port, headphone jack. You have one here. You also have one here. It's very convenient. You have remote control, so the kids can control their own movies, their own shows. It's very, very hands-off for the parents in the front if they would like to be hands-off, and you have older kids that can navigate these features on their own. So not only does it come with this, it comes with these nice headsets that the kids are able to use, so that they can put these on and watch their show, and the driver and the passenger in the front seats can listen to the radio, have a personal conversation, and just enjoy each other rather than listening to the movie that's on in the back. It's a pretty awesome thing, and we thought that it was great to have that ability to have it included in the package. Alright, so let's take a look at the front seat from a driver's perspective. This is the infotainment center. It's very practical, very easy to use. The Uconnect system that Chrysler uses is one of the easiest on the market to navigate through. Everything is quickly responsive to the touch. We have no issue when using this feature, using this this system. So look at that. So you know, I touch it and it responds immediately. So another feature that we find very useful, and that's included in this limited edition trim package, is the ability to have lane assist here, where essentially when you're driving, the vehicle itself will keep you within the lines of the street or the road, and if you start to veer off of the lines or out of your lane, it will literally force you back in, and it will give you plenty of resistance to make sure that you aren't accidentally leaving your lane or unintentionally leaving your lane. And the only way to bypass that feature is to use your turn signal. It's very creative. This isn't the only vehicle that has that feature, but it's very, very user friendly, and a safety feature that I think most people would want to have. Another feature that is very surprising in this vehicle is that it can park itself. It can parallel park. It can read other vehicles that are in the parking lot and navigate around them. Is literally hands-off parking. The steering wheel does all of the work for you. You literally take your hands off the wheel. It signals to you to remove your hands from the wheel, and it literally starts to move and rotate as it parks. So we thought that was a pretty awesome feature to have in a minivan, of all things, that it had that kind of agility to do that. So those are just a handful of the items that are included in the technology package with this limited edition. It's only a handful. There are so many that you wouldn't believe comes in this package. I could do a whole video on it, but I thought that I would point out some of the more noticeable features that you get in this package, aside from cruise control and things like that you would normally get or you would normally access through your steering wheel. I thought that I would just highlight some of the features that you may not have thought would be available to you in the minivan, but here we are in the Pacifica Limited, and you do have that ability to use those features. Another feature I want to discuss is the practicality of this vehicle. I'm able to open every single door in this vehicle from this console here. I can open the sliding door on the right, the sliding door on the left. I can open them both at the same time. I can open the trunk as well. So not only can I do it there, I can also do it from the key fob. As you can see here, almost the same icons on the bottom four that allow me to open just about any door in the vehicle. And having the ability to do that from outside the vehicle as you walk up to the car from wherever you're shopping, wherever you're coming from, and you can just open the doors and let the kids jump in on their own. It's pretty nice. So another feature that I would like to mention is the leg room. There is so much leg room in this vehicle. It completely surprised me. I've never had a vehicle with this much leg room. Myself, I'm 6'2", and it's an amazing thing to be a part of, and the ride itself still being so smooth and low to the ground. It doesn't feel like you're driving a large SUV when you're in this vehicle. It feels like you're driving a crossover. It feels like more of a crossover height than an SUV or a minivan. It's not boxy. This is a more rounded vehicle, and it handles way nicer than the Honda Odyssey that we took a look at when considering the two. And as you can see, it's just very spacious. It's very spacious in here, but it doesn't feel big when you're driving it. It doesn't feel big at all. Now, our model has the panoramic sunroof, as well as the third sunroof there in the back. It gives it a really nice open feel while you're driving or while you're just sitting in the vehicle. It does a lot for the car, and it's yet another feature that gives you that feeling of luxury that you just don't get in most other vehicles or even high-end SUVs. Another thing to keep in mind here, storage. There is storage everywhere. There's storage in this compartment. There's storage just under here. CDs, thin items like that can go here. You have your large storage here on the floor. as well as USB ports, charging ports. You have more storage here, cup holder, storage here. You also have storage here in the bottom of the console. There's storage in the doors, as you would imagine. There's also storage in this door. Now for the passengers in the back, there's storage also in the doors, as you can see here. There's pockets here for more storage. There's just tons and tons of storage when needed. There's a place for it. Other things to mention: you can have your climate control here. So you have zones in this vehicle that could be controlled from the front or from the back. You can completely have a different climate setting here in the back for these passengers, as opposed to the driver and the front seat passenger. A great feature to have, for folks in traveling in long distances. You just want a different climate change than those in the front of the vehicle. And another pretty great feature that I think is very underrated when it comes to this van is the idea that not only can the passengers from the back open and close the door here, but not only that, if I were a passenger getting into the vehicle and the driver's seat was too far back, they have the ability to push this button and the seat moves forward for you, so that you can easily access the vehicle at that point and make your way to your seat. It's a great feature. If you're talking about having kids, lots of bags, car seats typically, our car seat typically sits out about here. And then you've got my son's legs, which come out about here. So you can imagine if there's someone else, my daughter, for example, who's trying to get out of the vehicle, she can't really maneuver through this way, through this exit, until now, where she can hit this button and it allows her to move the seat forward and exit the vehicle that way. And not only is it on this side of the vehicle, same feature is available on that side. It's a game changer. It's amazing. We love this feature, and I don't think that many folks realize that they have it, and it's wildly underused, but should get more attention. And so here we go again, just to get more visual on that button. It's an awesome feature. Not only do we have that feature, but there's heated seats in the back. This car is loaded with convenience for not only the drivers, but the passengers in the back as well. So the heated seats are only for the captain seats that we have here. It doesn't reach to the bench in the back, only the captain seats, but this is more than enough for travelers to get some sort of comfort with that feature. Another thing to consider: getting in and out of the access of the vehicle, either from this entrance exit area, or maybe you just want to get in through the back. This is an amazing feature that they've put into the seats. Makes it very easy to get in and out of the vehicle and directly to the back. For my daughter, she loves it, and it works great. And you don't have to remove anything to do that. My son literally sits in this seat, in a car seat, and you're still able to move it forward so that they can get in and out. Now, one of the major features of the minivan is the vacuum cleaner. This has got to be one of the most sought after features for those looking to get a minivan, because they're toting and carrying a group of children. Children are messy. Our kids destroy this vehicle as far as crumbs and snacks and things that they have. It gets messy. but this vacuum cleaner literally sucks it all up. It's a stronger vacuum cleaner. This just isn't here for show. This gets a lot of action from us, and it has a great sucking power, and it also comes with attachments to make life a little bit easier when you need to get into smaller crevices. And it also has a brush for use when needing to get things off of the carpet. Great features. We get a lot of use out of it, and it's definitely a lifesaver when detailing your own vehicle. Another major feature of this minivan and the limited edition that we have, and I believe it's available on lower trim models as well, but for sure on the edition we have, is the stow and go feature. This is probably the feature that sold us on this model and on this van, because of how easy it is to do it. And essentially you're not just taking a seat out of the car and then having to store it in the garage or store it somewhere else. You can simply take this seat, drop it into the bottom of the floor, and have tremendous space afterwards when the seat is gone. You don't have this feature if you have the bench as your second row. It's only available to you if you have the captain seats. But for us, it is an amazing feature. We've been able to haul large pieces of furniture, couches, refrigerators. We've been able to haul an entire playground. It's an amazing amount of space that you get when you drop these seats. I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, so I wanted to be able to show you the space inside once you drop the second row. Plenty of space, but it doesn't stop there. We also have the ability to drop the third row seats, which just takes this to a whole nother level, and it's something you have to appreciate. Let's take a look at that. And so in order to complete the stow and go of the third row, we have the ability in the limited edition to use the electric panel here, which will allow you to do just the right side or the left side and the center seat together. You'll see that these are one piece, the center and the left side, and the right seat is on its own, so you have the ability to control the two separately from here. You can also forward the seats or bring them back to normal, and then the stow button is here. It's very nice. Now, if you don't have the limited or the ability to do this electronically, it's very easy. You just use the strap here. You pull the strap, the seats fold down forward. Same for this side. You pull the strap, the seats will fold forward, and it works just as well. And now that we're in the trunk area, I'll point you to some other features. The Limited also has the vacuum, which we already discussed. The bag for it goes here so that you can change the bag if you use it frequently. And here is a spare tire. This is actually a pump here, an electronic pump for a spare tire, for a flat tire. And I've never had to use it, but it's a nice feature to have here when you get in a crunch and you're limited on resources, to be able to inflate your tire this way. It's pretty nice. So that's there. If you have this trim package, this is a feature that's included. And so another underused feature is this seat belt coming from the ceiling in the third row. It is an additional safety seat belt, and it's very handy for young ones that are sitting in the third row, because when you use it, it can't be undone unless you have a key to insert into it. You could just use your car keys, but it's a way to keep them safe and in their seat, and you don't have to worry about them unbuckling and running through the back of the car while you're driving. Awesome feature that gets underused as well. So here's a pretty good view of the storage capacity that the Chrysler Pacifica can give you if you were to drop all the seats in the van. Ton of space here. We've hauled plenty of items in it. You can tell from the scuffs here and here that we've moved a few different things. It's the plastic pieces that are here that are scuffing. Of course, the cloth won't scuff, but very minor areas of concern when you think about the results or the ability to haul major items without having to get a pickup truck or having to rent a U-Haul. If you do a pickup truck, whatever you're hauling is susceptible to the weather. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Hopefully it's not too windy where your things could get damaged or blown away. Number of factors, but to be able to haul it on the inside of your vehicle, and it's covered and protected, it's an amazing option to have, and that's what we wanted. We wanted a vehicle that gave us options that would make owning it very useful and practical at the same time. Okay, so there you have it. This is our 2019 Chrysler Pacifica. It's almost been a year since we've owned it. We've had a lot of great experiences in it. It's been very useful for us. It's very practical, very functional. We have zero complaints about this car. For all of my gripes and groans about owning a minivan, I have to say that I'm very pleased with the purchase for the amount of money we spent and the price point that we were able to get all of this technology, all of this functionality, as opposed to the large SUVs where I would have had to spend upwards of $20,000 more for the same type of technology, not including the functionality. Just makes it a no-brainer for us. It was something that we did as a family decision. So as much as I wanted a cool car, or one of those nicer Navigators or Tahoes or one of those large SUVs, it just wasn't right for us, and this was. So what we got for what we paid, I'm very, very happy with. I feel like this car, if without the stigmatism of owning a minivan, would go toe to toe with any of those larger SUVs. I know, shocking to hear, shocking to say, but I think it's the truth. And I'm I'm a proponent of doing what's practical and what's best for the pocket. And I wouldn't recommend this to anyone if I didn't think that it was worth the buy. So there's my take. There's my my review on the 2019 Chrysler Pacifica Limited Edition. And guys, feel free to subscribe. Leave comments below. I'm gonna be very active in responding. I know that this is a touchy subject when it comes to the men of the home, and trying to defend against having to make the leap to the minivan. I know all about it. I've been there, and I'm willing to answer any questions that helps you make a decision that's best for you and your family. Again, guys, thanks for stopping by. This has been Surviving the Suburbs, and I'll see you guys next video.